Welcome to A1 Healthcare YouTube channel. 10 top things causing skyrocketing childhood obesity in USA. This topic is unpleasant, but it is one that must no longer be ignored by society. We want our kids to learn to make healthier decisions, so this conversation is one that we have to have. Obesity rates have skyrocketed in the last 20 to 30 years, and, unfortunately, childhood obesity is no exception. There is a lack of access to healthy food for many children, and well-meaning parents often resort to cheaper, processed alternatives. Due to rising income inequality and the rapid culture in which we live, the health of children is suffering greatly. The prevalence of childhood obesity in the U.S., according to the CDC, is as follows. The frequency of obesity was 18.5% and affected approximately 13.7 million children and teenagers. The prevalence of obesity among 2 to 5-year-olds was 13.9%, 18.4% among 6 to 11-year-olds, and 20.6% among 12 to 19-year-olds. The prevalence of obesity decreased with increasing level of education of the household head among children and adolescents aged 2 to 19 years. Obesity prevalence was 18.9% among children and adolescents aged 2 to 19 years in the lowest income group, 19.9% among those in the middle income group, and 10.9% among those in the highest income group. For the last 20 years, obesity rates have tripled among children and adolescents. This should not come as a surprise when you look at the world around you. The lives of children have been permeated by sedentary lifestyles, fast food and technology, wreaking havoc on their health. Parents may have good intentions, but because of convenience, they choose unhealthy options for their children. Below, we'll talk more about the reasons behind the obesity crisis, and how we can ensure better health for children. While the world may encourage ill health, children can learn better habits which enforce well-being. Here are 10 top factors causing the childhood obesity epidemic. Here are the 10 primary things causing overweight, and therefore unhealthy, children. Number 1. Decreased physical activity due to sedentary lifestyles. The lack of exercise, combined with an unhealthy diet, contributes greatly to the epidemic of obesity. Children do not have as much incentive or opportunity to play, with the rise in technology and more sedentary living. Many schools have taken away recess time as well, which proves detrimental to children's mental and physical health. Simply put, children were made to run and play, not study and memorize information for hours at a time. Even if they get recess time at school, children still need more than 30 minutes of movement per day. After school and on weekends, many of them spend a large portion of their time indoors on technology. Parents who have busy schedules may find it easier to let the TV do the babysitting instead of playing with them outdoors. Number 2. Poor availability and affordability of nutrient-dense foods. In addition, children growing up in lower-income families may not have access to healthy foods. Especially in one-parent households, the parent may not have time to cook nutritious meals for children. As a result, they may resort to fast food or processed foods because of the convenience and low cost. According to a study done by the University of Michigan, poverty and obesity have a powerful correlation. Researchers found among school districts in Massachusetts that every 1% rise in low-income status led to a 1.17 rise in obese, overweight students. It only makes sense that if kids have access to more fresh foods, they will make healthier choices. Kids who grow up in low-income houses have a clear disadvantage when it comes to health, unfortunately. Number 3. Lack of information about healthy food choices. Kids may not have access to information about healthy food choices, particularly in lower-income households. Kids emulate the example of their parents, and that includes what kinds of food they eat. If parents eat mostly processed foods, because they do not know any better, the kids will follow their lead. According to the World Health Organization, lack of information about healthy food choices contributes to the problem. Schools should teach children about nutrition if parents don't have access to knowledge about healthy food options. Parents might mean well, but just don't have the resources or time to help kids make better decisions about food. Number 4. Unhealthy eating habits in the household. As we said above, children pick up on habits from their parents, which can be beneficial or harmful. If parents eat mostly processed, unhealthy foods, children will likely follow suit. For example, one study found that living in a single-parent household and having an overweight mother are linked to childhood obesity. Number 5. Too many high-sugar, high-fat processed foods. People have begun turning to more processed, higher-calorie snacks and meals in the last few decades. These kinds of foods are quick and convenient, but typically have very few nutrients. As a consequence, kids still feel hungry after eating, but because of eating too many calories, they end up gaining weight. Some research shows that, because of the quality, not quantity, of the foods they eat, obese people actually suffer from malnutrition. Many studies link the higher consumption of processed foods with an increased risk of childhood obesity. This occurs because they usually don't have a chance to burn off the excess calories consumed, leading to weight gain. Number 6. Marketing unhealthy foods specifically to children. In causing the obesity crisis, the companies selling these unhealthy foods have an enormous responsibility. To get the attention of children, companies use bright colors, catchy songs, and fun cartoon characters, and it works. While parents don't have to buy the products, because they think it will make their children happy, they may just buy them. Marketing campaigns trick parents by saying the cereals or other snacks are fortified with vitamins, but they still contain tons of sugar. Have you noticed that the characters on breakfast cereals in the stores seem to be at eye level with kids? It's almost as if the companies did that on purpose. A report from the FTC found that the food industry spent $1.8 billion on marketing foods and beverages to kids in 2009. The top 3 ads directed to children were fast food, $714 million, carbonated beverages, $395 million, and breakfast cereals, $186 million. Children, ages 2 to 14, saw an average of 10 to 11 television ads per day in 2016, or approximately 4,000 ads total. This doesn't even account for all the other ads targeted to them via mobile devices or in schools. Number 7. General genetic factors. Obviously, genetics plays a huge role in the likelihood of developing obesity as a child or later in life. Some studies have found that body mass index (BMI) has a heritability of 25 to 40%. However, genetics account for only 5% of cases of childhood obesity, so lifestyle factors likely contribute the most. Number 8. Large portion sizes. Portion sizes have increased dramatically in the past 10 to 20 years. Consuming large portions can contribute to a caloric excess, leading to fat storage and obesity. Not surprisingly, people tend to eat whatever is on their plate, so more food equals more calories consumed. Number 9. Using food to deal with stress or other emotions. Children growing up in stressful environments may learn to use food to cope with emotions. Extensive research links early life poverty and adverse childhood experiences, such as abuse, to obesity in adults. Increasing evidence shows associations between these stressful situations and higher obesity rates in children and teens as well. High, prolonged stress levels disrupt important hormones and behavioral pathways in the brain, increasing the risk of obesity. Number 10. Lack of access to safe places to exercise. Especially in lower-income areas, children may not have accessibility to safe, well-lit areas to play and exercise. Wanting to keep their kids safe, parents may encourage them to do more indoor activities instead. Even if children live in safe areas, they may not get much of an opportunity to play outdoors. For example, in the past, many kids rode a bike or walked to school. However, nowadays, as many as 53% of parents drive their kids to school, according to surveys. They cite safety, long distances, and fear of child predators as reasons for driving their kids to school. How to reverse the childhood obesity crisis. Teach children healthy eating habits. Everything starts at home, including our children's food preferences. Lead by example, and try to eat as many fresh, healthy foods as you can. Don't keep a lot of processed snacks in the house so they can learn to enjoy healthy food instead. Eat at home most of the time. Children greatly benefit from eating home-cooked meals. Not only do they get social interaction with their parents, but the meals will likely have fewer calories than at restaurants. Not to mention, you can control what you put in the meals and make them healthier. Limit the time spent on technology. Unfortunately, per year, kids get exposed to thousands of unhealthy food ads. Try to reduce their time on TV and tablets so that they don't see these marketing tactics as often as possible. Sometimes, give them treats. In life, children need balance, and that goes for their diets as well. They will just want to eat more unhealthy foods to compensate if you limit their diet. If you like this video, hit the subscribe button to receive more like it in the future.